Xenoblade Chronicles has one of the greatest stories you've never heard.
I'm going to try my best to keep this video as brief and understandable as possible, even to the people who have never played these games. The Xenoblade franchise is huge, spanning Xenoblade Chronicles 1, Future Connected, X, not canon, 2, Torn of the Golden Country, 3, and Future Redeemed. Across all three games, we are invited to explore the cycle of creation and destruction, hope and despair, and ultimately, the human condition of letting go and moving forward. So yeah, spoilers. The cutscenes for just the main three games, Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, total over 50 hours, and the tone shifts wildly between the main series games, with 1 and 3 being pretty restrained and serious, while 2 is Xenoblade 2.
They knew those anime figures were gonna sell, huh? That those blades would make a fucking fortune. Monolith Soft, you fucking geniuses.
I think even if you haven't played these games, there's something to gain from the stories and insights I'm about to share.
It has a little something for everyone.
I think it's best to start all the way from the beginning. When first revealed in 2009, Xenoblade was known as Monado, beginning of the world. It's clear that from the very beginning, these games were meant to be
absolute cinema,
centered around the source of creation and how these worlds and their people change. To catch you up to speed, the overarching plot of the game is as follows. Originally, the world was an Earth very similar to our own. After the discovery of an artifact called the Conduit, a power source that serves as a gate between dimensions, a special institute called, let's take a look here.
Aidos.
Yeah, that was created to study it. Aidos creates 3 artificial intelligences called the Trinity Processors, dubbed Logos, Numa, and Ontos, to be able to harness the energy of the Conduit. After witnessing endless war and suffering, a scientist working for Aidos, Klaus, begins to believe that the Conduit is a holy object bestowed to him to fix his broken world. Through sheer arrogance, he uses the Conduit's power to create a new universe where humanity could be more. Galea, another Aidos scientist, tries to stop him, but her attempts are unsuccessful. This puts us at the events of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2. Both worlds in these games exist simultaneously in 2 separate universes. As a result of Klaus's experiment, the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is created. Klaus in this universe becomes Zanza, the soul of the Bionis, while Galea becomes Maineth, the soul of the Mechonis, titanic beings that serve as the geography for the first game. As a god of this new world, Zanza creates a perpetual cycle of life and death on the Bionis, harnessing the life energy of all living things to feed his godhood. On the other hand, Maineth just kinda chills, not really concerned with dominion over others, until the Bionis, Zanza, attacks her unprovoked. The Mechonis and Bionis fight to a stalemate, creating the backdrop of Shulk's adventure. Shulk's journey in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is about breaking the eternal cycle created by Zanza. Armed with a legendary weapon called the Monado, and driven by revenge over the death of his unofficial girlfriend Fiora, Shulk embarks on a quest to kill all Mechon, inhabitants of the Mechonis. As his journey evolves, he grows as he meets and comes to understand others. He sheds a naivety, learning that the world isn't as simple as he once thought. This leads to him questioning not only his own actions and motivations, but the very notion of the world and fate. At the end of the game, Shulk rejects the Monado's power as a tool of divinity, opting instead to forge a future that embraces human agency. This act of letting go, both of the revenge he once sought and the promise of godlike power, speaks to the deeper themes of moving on and taking control of your future present in the game. Zanza's mission of endlessly reconstructing is paradoxically what binds him. Unable to let go of his control for the world and others, Zanza's existence is defined by others, his inability to let go condemning him to an eternity of stagnation. But Shulk challenges this directly, empowering the people around him to reject the idea that life's cruel cycle is inevitable. He helps them realize that purpose and meaning come from the will to fight, to strive for something greater than themselves. In the end, Shulk embraces the impermanence of life, understanding that beauty lies in the connections, the triumphs, the fleeting joys, and the choices we live with. The world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is set in the ruined remains of the original Earth. After Klaus's experiment, half of his body becomes Zanza, while the other half remains on the shattered Earth, now burdened with godlike power. This Klaus laments the suffering he caused and, unlike Zanza, does not use his power to control others and the world. Instead, he creates Allrest, a world of wandering titans where people and blades live together on their backs. By the time the game takes place, these titans are slowly dying out, creating a feeling of nihilism and decay across all of Allrest. As the remaining people fight each other for resources, Klaus realizes humanity will always repeat the same mistakes. He becomes detached and hopeless, knowing that his attempt to create a better world only perpetuated the very same failures he once experienced. The villains of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 grapple with the same problems as those in Xenoblade 1. Jin and Malos each embody the despair of living in a world that seems destined to repeat the same cycles of destruction. These are characters consumed by the weight of their pasts and the failures that define them. Jin's tragedy lies in his love for Laura. Rather than allowing himself to cherish their time together, to move forward, he fixates on it and transforms it into something toxic. Jin strangles the memory of Laura. He loses sight of the person she would have wanted him to be and the person he was. He would rather tear the world apart than face a reality where she no longer exists. In Jin's mind, the world without Laura is a world that deserves to end, and in this pursuit, he perpetuates cycles of hatred and loss he himself seeks to escape. In the end, Jin is able to let go, find peace, and leave everything to Rex. Malus, on the other hand, embodies the struggle for meaning in a world where he was created to destroy. Remember those Trinity processors I mentioned in the beginning? Malos is one of them, and through the process of his awakening, he is inscribed with the hate and malcontent of Amalthus, the man who awakens him. His existence is defined by ceaseless, careless hatred, and every attempt to find purpose only leads to more suffering. Malos' struggle with his destructive identity can be found in every one of us. Many of us are who we are entirely through the circumstances and events that are outside of our control. We are often born into societal expectations, family histories, or traumas that seem to define us before we even have a say. Malos doesn't believe there is any way to escape himself, and in that hopelessness, he embraces the role fully, seeking to destroy everything as a way of affirming his existence. His refusal to accept the truth that he can change, to let go of who he is, ultimately is his downfall. Amidst this crushing hopelessness, however, is Rex. The protagonist for Xenoblade 2. Rex's journey begins not with a thirst for revenge or control, but with a simple, almost naive dream to reach Elysium, a paradise he believes will solve all the world's problems. But as he progresses, Rex, like Shulk, must shed his idealized version of the world. Elysium, the paradise he once sought, doesn't even exist. Throughout his journey, Rex is met with disappointment, hopelessness, and overwhelming evil. He needs to go through this journey, not to resist that evil, the decay, the despair, but to learn to love the world in its entirety. I didn't talk much about Amalthus, but this is a central idea that separates these two characters. Amalthus is consumed by his hatred and contempt for humanity, witnessing their cyclical cruelty. Where Rex chooses to accept the world, Amalthus rejects and resists it, destroying the natural order and plunging the world into further nihilistic despair.
And then Rex marries 3 hot anime girls. I don't know, man.
Finally, we get to Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
An impending convergence event threatens to destroy the worlds of Xenoblade 1 and 2. In order to avoid inevitable oblivion, the characters of both games build Origin, an artificially intelligent supercomputer designed to safely store the soul data of everybody until the convergence is over. This plan proves a failure, causing the two worlds to merge together into a dreamlike purgatory called Aeonios. After Aeonios is formed, Mobius, the personification of everyone's fears for the future, is created, acting as the main antagonist. The setting of the game is a world replete with conflict between two factions, Keves and Agnes. In this world, the citizens of each nation, including our protagonists, are soldiers with a fleeting lifespan of 10 years, or terms as they call it. The soldiers of Keves and Agnes live short, defined lives, and their only purpose is to fight in an endless war that sustains the world. The world of Aeonios is the final manifestation of the theme seen in Xenoblade 1 and 2. The game is full of symbolism relating to the eternal recurrence, from the death and rebirth of its soldiers, to the conflict between Mobius, representing the endless now and holding on, and Ouroboros, which the game reveals not to be an affirmation of eternity, but a reflection on the inevitability of endings and new beginnings. We must hope that in the endless paths we can take, we will choose the right one.
Noah represents this hope. Like the other game's protagonists, Noah learns to grow past his naivety. For his whole life, Noah believed that if he could just reach out, he would be able to save the ones he loved. An idea that we obviously understand at this point to be laughable.
Throughout his journey, Noah is relentlessly beaten down and brought to the brink of utter helplessness and despair. Despite everything, Noah is able to let go of his feelings of inadequacy and move forward in a world determined to destroy him and everything he loves.
Like the antagonists, the longing for time to stand still is something most of us can relate to. We want to hold on to the ones we love and what we have. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes the present, even when it's filled with struggle, feels more bearable than the anxiety of an unknown future. But as Xenoblade Chronicles 3 poignantly expresses, staying still means never truly living, never truly loving. Without change, without growth, there is no future. The core message of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is one of hope and courage. The protagonists, Noah, Mio, choose to break free of the cycle. They reject the comfort of the endless now and instead choose to face the uncertainty of the future, recognizing that true freedom lies in the ability to let go and to move forward.
That was a deep one. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you like content like this. I know it's a bit different from my last video. It's a bit deeper. It's a bit more exclusive, if you could say, because it's Xenoblade and, who the fuck plays that, right? But, if you like this kind of stuff, leave a like, subscribe, do the whole thing. Say shebang in the comments if you made it all the way to the end, and I'll see you next time. Peace!